Hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jobu. It's Friday night.
All they just say is please me, or spend some time and rock around. I said it's not that easy. It's true to rock around. That's right, all time is tricky.
Well, hello, everybody. It's Mark, the Cowboy Jobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Because without you guys, well, you know I'd be sitting here talking to myself. And I got to tell you, it feels great to be back with you guys. Man, what a week it's been. I mean, we had the draft last weekend. I made it out of Philadelphia alive. And actually, I got to tell you, we've got a few Eagle fans that do watch the show, and I appreciate that we actually have fans of a lot of teams that actually watch here. I know I've got some Redskins, some Giant fans and all that stuff. So I appreciate all of the support. But I got to tell you, man, I was really, really disappointed that nobody in Philadelphia started anything. I mean, seriously, that's what you guys are known for. Yet, not a single incident. I thought I was going to literally have to fight for my life. You know, I wore my jersey a couple of days, and it got to be a little rank there, too, because it was hot in Philly. But not a single incident. But on a real, though, I want to actually thank Philadelphia because you guys actually had a fantastic draft. You couldn't have had a better time than what we had at that one. I mean, it was actually, you know, so many people, so many fans and all that. You know, you heard FU Cowboys all the time. You know, you got the finger and stuff. But, you know, after that, you'd get the smile, the giggle, the laugh, and say nothing personal. We just hate the Cowboys. So that experience alone was just fantastic. I don't know if it's going to be in Dallas next year, but I think the NFL realizes they got something. It was a lot different than Chicago because Chicago, they had an outdoor setup and then they had the separate theater. But by combining the two of those, it literally brought everybody in because even though you weren't in the theater that sat about 2,000 people, you still had all of these great fans that were around the stage, that were close to it. You're seeing all the jumbotrons there in real time. You can look up at the stage and see what's going on and stuff. You may not get it real clear, but you can see all of the action and stuff that was going on. So that was actually fantastic. So the problem will be is, how will Dallas replicate that? You know, the Star fits, I think, 14 or 15,000 people. You know, they do have the field out front. I don't know how they would be able to do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it returned to Philadelphia next year, but we'll have to wait and see. But I know Jerry Jones is definitely going to be trying to get it one way or the other. So, first question I want to answer tonight is somebody asked, and I believe it was Texas Made 817 for an update on Tony Romo. Okay, so here you go, buddy. Here's your update on Tony Romo. They photoshopped Tony Romo for his picture sitting behind a desk. If you look at CBS's press release, it's Tony Romo's head, but it's not Tony Romo's body. I mean, come on, guys. Do a little work. Can't you at least bring Tony Romo in and take a picture of him at a desk? Do you really have to Photoshop? So that is our Tony Romo watch for tonight. So hopefully Texas Made, you got what you wanted. Now I'm trying something a little different here with the webcam. You guys know I'm old and I'm technology challenged. So I'm actually using this mic as opposed to the webcam mic. And I spent about the last hour down here trying to learn how to disable the webcam's mic. So I'm hoping that all of you guys can hear me real well. If you can't, well, let me know and I'll just basically go back to the original setup. So hopefully it sounds a little bit better. You know, I'm constantly trying to upgrade and improve what we're bringing to you guys because, you know, you guys make me... Oh, shouting down the good old Eagles here. That was actually an incredible scene. Never gets old. Yeah, that was actually an incredible time there at the draft. And I got to tell you, that clip of Drew Pearson will never, ever get old because that feeling in there, and I wish I could replicate it to you guys, that feeling of all of us Cowboy fans, there was only about maybe 30 of us or so that were up front there in front of the stage shouting, let's go Cowboys, to this whole sea of Eagles saying Cowboys suck. And the feeling that you had, the excitement was just unbelievable. It's got me so I just can't wait till the season starts. And I have got to make sure that I am able to do as many events as possible because meeting all these different Cowboy fans, filming all that stuff, and bringing it to you guys was just incredible. So we're going to definitely work on that. I feel really, really good about where our Cowboys are right now. And before we get into anything else, let me start giving shout outs to all you people that have tuned in, and I appreciate you guys. And we're going to go ahead and mute Run DMC. Robert A. Man, you're always here, man. Thanks for the support. Anthony Betts, and there's my girl, Sarah Green. How are you doing? Bill B, nice to see you. Carlos, Colby, I don't remember that one, but appreciate you guys all joining. Let me move up the channel here. I'm still getting used to the new setup because I actually have a television screen that's in front of me with the webcam. So that way I'm looking at the webcam and I can also see the feed as well. And it's kind of pretty good. The only problem is it's still a little bit small for these old eyes, but sounds good or sounds hood. Anthony Betts, you said sounds hood. So does that mean it sounds good or I sound like I'm from the hood? Butler, video's getting better. Good. I actually upgraded the Wi-Fi down here, so that way I've got a better Wi-Fi, like a booster down here. Sandman, nice to see you. Yeah, it's funny because when we're at the draft there, my wife is like, okay, no, look, the NFL, generous as they are with United Way and everything else, the whole charity thing, I am truly blessed to have done a lot of great things with them. To be there in the draft, front row, filming this guy and things like that is just unbelievable. And my wife always says to me, remember, this is my job. You can't be Joe the fan, and I don't want to see Jobu. And I turned to her, I said, honey, what you have to understand is the NFL wants fans, and fans is short for fanatics, okay? They want people to be having a good time and being crazy and a little bit out there that's memorable. You don't want to see the draft and have everybody just sitting there like they're in church. You want to see rabid fans that are excited about football. And that's me. So it was pretty cool because she actually started taking some video of me and stuff and Michael, cheering and stuff with the crowd and things. But the atmosphere in there was incredible. And if you ever get the opportunity to go to a draft, it's worthwhile to go to. It's just a lot of fun. Colby T, that's a new one. Eric, nice to see you. Jeffrey Watson, how's everybody doing tonight? It's Friday night. I just want to know, how do you guys feel about the direction of the Dallas Cowboys? I've put out a couple of videos about things that I feel good about and things that I may be concerned about. What I try and do here, you can get the same rehash on ESPN, NFL Network, and all those places. They'll have the same story and it'll almost sound exactly the same. It'll just be a different host. But what I try and do is I try and get you guys a different point of view or a different topic or different subject. So that's why I was saying about Jerry Jones. Love him or hate him, he has truly shaped football, and he is still a very, very powerful person in football. And doesn't mean he hasn't made mistakes, and sometimes his ego has gotten in the way. But when you look at the product that he has helped the NFL put out on the field, the way they are able to make money is just unbelievable. The Palace in Dallas, and if you've never been to the Dallas Stadium, it's incredible. It's almost too incredible. One of the reasons why we don't have a home field advantage is if you're a fan of another team and you're going to go to a away game, you're going to go to Dallas because you want to see that Jumbotron that's there. And there's so many things to do at that stadium that football becomes secondary. You might want to go see the dancing girls in the cages or the drummers. You might want to check out the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. You might want to go to the bar. You might want to go to Victoria's Secrets and get some lingerie. You may want to go to one of the many bars or one of the many restaurants. There's so much to do that everybody's not focused in on football. When you go to Oakland, there's not jack crap to do other than watch a football game. And everybody's there rabid about the game. So that's one of the reasons why we've had a hard time having a home field advantage. But you started to see that pick up this year. And I want to do my part to try and increase that. I want to start getting to more and more games next year and helping to spread the mojo. And I'm hoping to meet a lot of you guys. Now, another thing I was bringing up about the Dallas Cowboys is we went from having a lot of holes in the team when you looked at free agency where we had 21 free agents. We've got a lot of young guys, but I'd rather have young guys that learn under fire, competing for jobs. When you have players that know, I'm going to be the starter. No matter what I do, when I show up to camp, I'm going to be the starter. And that was Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy knew I could do anything I want, and they ain't going to bench me. They're paying me big time money, so I'm going to be the starter. I ain't got to do nothing. But now we have guys that are going to be fighting for their NFL lives. Switzer, who I made the mistake of saying he's not related to Barry Switzer, but he's actually apparently related to Barry Switzer, but we won't hold that against him. Switzer and Lucky Whitehead are going to be competing for one spot. So that means these guys are going to be going toe-to-toe, trying to do everything they can to make sure they make the team. And it may be both of them make the team. Maybe neither of them make the team. But I guarantee you that both of them will become better players because of the competition. The same thing can be said about the offensive line. When we were first looking about losing, Ron Leary to free agency and then Doug Free, we said, okay, we got Collins. Collins can play guard, but, we're kind of shortened there in the line. Well, we signed a few free agents and things that guys will compete for that spot. And that's what you want. You want guys that are hungry, that are fighting to be the best that they can be. I tell you guys, I'm old. And when I played football, like I said, some of you are joking about the leather helmets and stuff, or the good old single bar helmets like Joe Theismann wore. It's not quite that old, but it was back there. And it was a different era because, in fact, just a few years before I started playing high school football, they didn't give you water or Gatorade. It was considered being weak if you had to actually have water during practice to go ahead and show you how far back I played. But I remember in college, in camp, played at JMU, and we had a coach from Delaware State, Joe Przicki. Joe Przicki's father, I think, was a used car salesman, but Joe Przicki just did not take any crap. When we had training camp, it's not like training camp today. When you go to training camp with the Cowboys, you see a morning walkthrough, shorts and a jersey. In the afternoon, you see shoulder pads, and they're not hitting the sled. They're not really hitting each other. They're not tackling. They're not even wrapping up. No, we got up. We had a 7 o'clock practice. Then we had breakfast, and while we were in breakfast, we were eating in our groups, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, so on. So the coach is talking to us while we're eating. We'd have a special team practice at noon. We'd have weight training at 2:30. Then we'd have a 4 o'clock practice. And I remember this day like it was yesterday. It was about 95 degrees. We had a few fights in practice and all that, and people were tired. We were just kind of dogging it. And the coach picked up on that. So we started running gassers, and gassers are you run sideline to sideline and back and back and back. So we ran about 12 gassers. The coach still wasn't satisfied. So he said, you know what? You blank the blank the blank the blanks are dogging it. End zone. We start running 100-yard sprints. And I think we ran about 6 of them. Greg Colvin, if you're watching down in Houston, you may remember. Charles Haley, if you're watching, I know you remember. After running those 600-yard sprints, the coach said, "You're still dogging it." And he made us crab from end zone to end zone. And if you've never crabbed with full gear on, I'm talking shoulder pads, hip pads, knee pads, thigh pads, and everything else in 95-degree weather. Generally speaking, you'd only do it for about 20 yards. We did it end zone to end zone. And literally people just collapsed. But that coach said to us after the practice that I want to know, when it comes to the fourth quarter and you're tired as hell and think that you don't have anything else to give, that you can dig even deeper and give some more. Because that's the kind of guy I need out on that football field. And that thought, that image, that pain that I felt has always stuck with me. You've got to realize, if you've never played football, they try and make it antiseptic, make it look so clean. It's clean cut. You know, the guys are heroes. Football is down and dirty. It is a struggle of life and death, because your job is to knock the crap out of the guy in front of you. And that's why I'm excited about the opportunity for these guys to have to earn their place on the team, earn that starting job, because you will get guys that you know have been there in the fight that will be ready to play come Sunday. So that's my flashback moment, guys, and I hope I didn't get too boring with you and didn't lose too many of you. But I always like sharing little stories here and there, and usually when I share that with my kids, things kind of roll their eyes. Okay, here he goes. All that mindless minutia that he has. But Jackie, nice to see you. J-Mac, Jacoby, Carlos. I tried to make my family tacos by my lady, but corn tortillas. Okay. Yeah, well, you know what? We better all get into practice for making tacos, because we're going to be definitely having taco Sundays. And I'm excited about Taco. I mean, 6'5", 277 pounds. He's got a great lean. I touched on that before. Sandman, no, I've never received one, and I don't actually know what one is. But he's got a great lean, and he's great with his hands at getting separation. Because if you can keep that offensive lineman at arm's length, you're able to make all kinds of moves. You never want the offensive lineman to get up onto your body, because then he can move you where he wants to. And that's the thing that I think is great about Taco. You know, a lot of people look at his speed in the 40 and they say, oh, he's not that fast. But see, you're not running a 40. As a defensive end. It's, can I make those steps, those first two steps, and make that offensive lineman move? Because that offensive lineman isn't running a 4.6 40 either. So it's a matter of being able to get that separation and make that move, that quick head fake to swim past him, get that offensive lineman leaning the opposite direction and be able to make that move. And I think that he's going to be able to do that. And that's the great thing, I think, about where we are also as well. When I talk about people having to fight for their position, is all of a sudden we've got a lot of defensive linemen. I'm not saying that they're DeMarcus Ware in their prime, but see, what you got to understand with football is it's a team sport. It's not golf where it's just me against the ball. It's a team sport, because you could have 10 guys do everything right and one guy messes up, it's a touchdown. But I like the fact that we have a lot of young talent. You know, I'm looking for David Irving, and David Irving's another guy who is fantastic with his hands. I think another year under Rod Martinelli, and I will forever put that T in because I'm a name butcher, and that's what I do. But that's another guy who's great at getting separation. When he goes for a pass rush, he's getting his hands in the body or the chest, and he is literally shocking the guy. And by doing that shocking, when that guy is bouncing back and trying to recover, boom, he's gone. That's a guy I look for to take another step as he has more time working in a defense. You get Taco out there, he's a rookie, and it generally takes time for a rookie defensive end to make a big impact, but I think he can be an upgrade. So now all of a sudden, if you're a Tyrone Crawford, you got to say, oh, I got this big contract. I got a $10 million hit. Now, this year, whether they cut me or keep me, it's going to be the same. But I got to start worrying about keeping a position. I got these young guns out here that are ready to play and get paid. So I better come to camp ready to rock and roll. You got DeMarcus Lawrence, who now could be expendable as well. DeMarcus Lawrence has got to be saying, damn, I got this back injury. All of a sudden, we got Taco Sunday here. We got a David Irving who's playing well. They brought in a Stephen Apaya who's familiar with Rod Martinelli. I got to come to camp ready to go, or I'm going to be out of here. You got Collins in there. You got Topper, who's going to be coming around, and he's got to be thinking too, hey, I was injured last year. We got a lot of guys here. So you're going to see, I hope, a cage match for the defensive line. And to me, that's exciting. And it will make all of those guys better. All the water boys aren't asked to stand for the anthem. Okay, so we're back at that. Well, I got to tell you, I got a lot of hate this week when I started talking about Colin Kaepernick. And it's funny how people want to see you fail. People will take that 1% thing that you might have said, and they will focus on that 1%. Forget about the 99% things that you said that make complete sense. They'll focus in on that one little thing. Because, see, like, I'll have people that know I will butcher a name. Just will. Just will. And I'll be honest with you guys. The fact that I'm actually even here to be able to do this show, I used to stutter. I'm dyslexic. Growing up, it was the hardest thing in the world. My E's were C's, my D's were B's, my 3's were 5's. And so sometimes reading out a name, I will screw it up, or I will see it wrong in my head. But I got a photographic memory. When it comes to building something, you show me a picture of what it looks like, and I can replicate it. That's my gift. But people will focus in and forget that I said all this other thing, and they'll say, that may have been point on. And they'll focus on there's no T in Rod Martinelli. Okay, big deal. I made a mistake. Nobody's perfect, but you got to focus in on that. But when I was talking about Colin Kaepernick, I gave a whole bunch of reasons why I didn't think he would be good for the Dallas Cowboys. It's a different kind of system he plays in, the pistol offense, which he was really, really good when it first came out. But after the second year, he started to go downhill. That's reason number one. Reason number two, it's a whole lot of money to keep him. So you're now, if Dak Prescott goes down, you're going to have to change the offense for him. You're going to spend a whole bunch of money for him. Okay, that's two reasons. And I'd said, what was my other reasons? Oh, the circus. I said that this team that I am really excited about has changed the culture and identity of the Dallas Cowboys. Because as much as ESPN and NFL Network want to make us the headlines, the out-of-control players, there's nothing further from reality. Yes, we've had the headline guys before, the Pac-Man Jones. We've had the Tank Johnsons. We had Greg Hardy. But you, to a man, start looking at this roster. I said these are lunch pail guys that go to work. They're not looking for the limelight. Now, Zeke is out there having fun. and getting scrutinized more than guys that are beating women for showing up and dancing on stage. Yet a Gronkowski can be drunk on stage, falling down, and have a drunken cruise, debauchery, but that's okay. But this team, I feel, is a family with no drama. You got Dak Prescott, who's shying away from the limelight, spending time with his family, going fishing, and working his ass off. You got a guy like Des Bryant, who used to be really, really vocal and out there and have some incidents off the field. You've seen that guy mature, where now he's not thinking about just Des, because he's had games where he had one catch, but the team won, and said, hey, if I get no catches and we win, I'm good with that. If my job is to block so we can win, I'm good with that. To the point of even talking about black men taking responsibility for elevating themselves. So he's thinking about his team. He's thinking about his community. He's thinking about him having a greater purpose than himself. You look at a Sean Lee. How many times do you see Sean Lee in an interview? Very rarely. When you see him, he's got a desk there. These guys are low key. There's not the drama that's in there. They've got a bunker that's keeping all this stuff out. So when I say the circus is no longer in Dallas, that's what I meant. And I said bringing Colin Kaepernick is going to end up bringing that focus back. And people took it as, you're a white man. You're not black. You're just a hater. You're just following along. And I'm just like, wait a minute. Because I brought up, I said, you know what? He didn't vote. Whether you like or don't like all of the people out there, it wasn't that long ago that black people couldn't vote. It wasn't that long ago that women couldn't vote. We had people protest. We've had people die. We have people fighting now, so you have that right to vote. And I don't care if you don't like who's out there. I make sure that I vote every single election. I end up working and helping candidates get elected. Because if you don't like the candidates that are running and you really want to do something about it, then work to get the candidates that should be there. Don't just say, oh, I'm doing this, but then you don't do the basics. So to me, I'm sorry, I said in my mind that I didn't think what he was doing was actually as genuine as he stated it was, because I knew he wanted to get his behind out of the 49ers. And Chip Kelly does not like vocal players, so the best thing I can do is be disgruntled. Let me kneel. Let me get the coach pissed off and get me the hell out of here. But then it evolved. And once it evolved, it was a runaway train, and he had to go through with it. That was my take on it, right, wrong, or indifferent. But I had people that turned around and said, oh, I'm unsubscribing to you, you blank to blank to blank. Dude, here's the thing. In this country, we're all entitled to our own opinion. You shouldn't condemn me for mine. I don't condemn you for yours. We should be able to have a discussion, and hopefully together, if we disagree, we can come up with a better conclusion. And unfortunately, that's where our country has become, where we can't have a conversation when somebody disagrees with us. We just say, F you. And I think it's actually a sad state. But anyway, yes, Jackie, Cap didn't vote. And that's my whole take on it. People say, oh, it's because the candidates were both sucking. It doesn't matter. You still need to exercise your right that people died for. See, I'm old. The reason I am a Dallas Cowboy now is because of racism. And I know that sounds funny because we're talking about Texas. But see, the Washington Redskins were the last team in the NFL to integrate, to have a black player. They had to be court ordered, and Preston Marshall had to die. before they would have a black player. So my father, who had to be bused to school and drive past 6 white high schools to go to school, he couldn't support the Redskins. So he did the exact opposite. Even though we're in the Washington, D.C. area, he became a Dallas Cowboy fan. And being a little kid on the sofa, I want to be like my dad. So that's how, when people want to know, how is it that you're a Dallas Cowboy fan in Washington, D.C.? Besides, who wants to support that dumpster fire? So anyway, I've kind of lost it here, and I hope I haven't lost a whole bunch of you fans and stuff. I just wanted to answer that that response, because I do a lot for everybody. Black, white, yellow, green, purple, alien, whatever. What I try and do on this program is I try and educate people. And the funny thing, because a lot of people say that Jobu, it's ridiculous for an old dude to go around with a voodoo doll. Oh, here's the thing. Jobu is one of the best icebreakers you'll ever see. It doesn't matter who you are, what your background is, if you're rich, poor, whatever. You see Jobu and you got curiosity. You want to know, what the hell is this guy doing? And people will come up to you. People that any other time would never have said a word to you. I walked into a redneck bar in California. A Facebook friend in California took me there because I think some scenes for Lobata was shot in this club. And when I walk in, everybody there wearing cowboy boots and hat. Turn around and they all look at me. And that was the first time in my life that I felt like every eye in the place was on me. And they looked at me like, what the hell are you doing here? By the end of the night, Jobu was up on stage with the band, because we all realize that people are people. And that's one thing that I've always tried to do on this channel, on the Benet Emery Show, everything else, is to let people know we're all people with the same kind of wants, desires, and all that. We all want our Dallas Cowboys to get back to the Super Bowl. It's a common denominator, right? Am I right on that one? Lewis versus Beckham, I think it's going to be really, really good. I have to agree with you on that, Jacoby. Eric Olson. Well, I just don't think Colin Kaepernick, excuse me, fits the team. And that was the basic of what I was saying. But people were basically saying that I am just a piece of crap that's, racist, even though I'm black. I've been through that kind of stuff before, with the whole pool incident that happened in McKinley, Texas. Benet Emery, the host of the show I'm on Monday nights, he lived in that neighborhood, and he ended up getting vilified. I got called a racist, and one of the guys who was there, who everybody labeled a racist, is the guy who introduced me to Benet, and he was wearing a Jobu t-shirt. And so I was saying to people online that he's not a racist. I know this guy. This guy picked me up from the airport. We hung out at the stadium and everything else. He introduced me to Benet. I know this guy. He's not a racist. He was actually out there helping people, because there's clips of him with a towel with a girl on the ground. But yet people were saying, no, this guy's a redneck. Now, he looked like a redneck, with a ZZ Top beard and stuff. But you can't judge a book by its cover. You got to judge everybody separate. But we're going to move on for that, because we're not going to make this a political show. Well, thank you, Eric. No, I'm not a racist. I've been through some racism myself, and I don't hate anybody. I've been through some terrible things. I've been stopped at gunpoint where I thought I was not going home, with the police pulling me over for nothing. But I'm not going to hate anybody. I'm not going to hate the police. I know that there's good and bad in every race, every facet of society and stuff, but there's also good in that. So that's the way you got to look at it. He could take Dunbar's place, Carlos. Hopefully. Lance Dunbar, of course, has left a free agency, and we really haven't replaced it. We still have Darren McFadden, but Darren McFadden is not a great receiver out of the backfield. He's a good changeup, But it would be nice to have kind of a guy that is good at catching the ball out of the backfield. Lance Dunbar, when he was healthy, was really fantastic at doing that. But the problem was he just couldn't stay healthy. He always ended up having those freak accidents. And you, from time to time, have guys that, for whatever reason, just get injured. It doesn't make any rhyme or reason. It just seemed to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. What's happening, Blake? Thomas, yeah, Thomas could be. We'll have to wait and see. Now, we had the 9 draft picks. Not all the guys are going to make the team. I mean, let's face it. You hope that everybody makes the team. You hope that every one of them make an impact, but the reality is not all of them will. What you hope for, as I always say in a draft, is you want to be able to get one guy who's an impact player. You want to get 2 guys that are starters, and you want to get a special team ace, and you want to get some depth. If you can do those 5 things, then you've had a hell of a draft. And I'm hoping that Taco will be the real deal. I'm hoping that Lewis and Joby will be starters that will play really, really well. And I wouldn't mind seeing Spitzer being a hell of a kick returner. But I like the whole competition. I think the wild card might be Noah Brown. I like him. One, I think we actually got a steal with him. But I like him because he's a big-bodied receiver, and I like a 6'2" receiver because you look at a lot of these cornerbacks that are 5'10", 5'11". They're smaller, quicker guys. But I like a big physical receiver. You know, that's Des Bryant. And when you have guys that can basically muscle the hell of you, come the fourth quarter, those guys are worn down. It's just like with our offensive line. You know, our offensive line wears out the defense. Come the fourth quarter, left, these guys are sucking air. So that's some of the things that I feel really, really good about it. Now, I was going to do a video on this later on, but my biggest concern is we've been plugging holes on defense. We've been plugging holes on the offense. So we were looking up on there. We've done a good job at managing the cap and working miracles without having any money. The one place I worry about with the Dallas Cowboys, and I know some people are going to shout me down and hate me for saying this, but I still have concerns about our coaching. I still feel like we are doing on-the-job training. Don't get me wrong. Jason Garrett and the crew have done really well in regular season, just like everybody talks about Tony Romo. But it seems like when it comes to that game that you got to have, when it comes to crunch time in that fourth quarter, sometimes we just don't seem to have the right call called, or it seems like their sphincter muscle is tightened up like this, and they just can't get it right. And I've seen it too many times that you think that this is going to be the year. And we kept having those 8-8. Win that game and you're in the playoffs. 8-8. Stephen A says 8-8, 8-8. And it's like the team is never ready on those games. That Green Bay game, we came out flat. The coaches made mistakes from Jump Street, and we got down 21-3. Give our team credit for battling back, but yet there were still mistakes after mistakes. Stopping the clock when we got the ball back. Throwing a 3-yard out and getting out of bounds. Then proceeding to throw 2 more times and not taking time off the clock. And leaving 39 seconds for Aaron Rodgers to work. You don't leave time for Aaron Rodgers. As Stephen A. Smith would say, the bad man. To me, that looked like a team that wasn't prepared. And it seems like every single time it's a big game, we're still in the same position. Green Bay 2 years ago. People will say, oh, we got robbed because Des really caught it. In my mind, that was the wrong play called. There was still a lot of time on the clock for an Aaron Rodgers. It was 4th down and 1. You had the best running back in football with the best offensive line. You're telling me you don't run for that 1 yard? That 1 yard that will keep the clock rolling, give you a first down and 3 more downs? You go for the juggler? And a lot of people say, oh, no, Tony Romo changed the call. Well, you know what? If you're as a coach, you say you run the goddamn ball. You get the first down, and you let some of this clock run off. So we go down and score, and there's no time left. I've seen too many times where we take a Bobby Carpenter and make him look like a Hall of Famer against the Lions. Bobby Carpenter, who couldn't bust a grape in Dallas, with the Dallas Cowboys up 21 points, we're still throwing the ball like crazy. Bobby Carpenter gets a pick 6, picks another one, and the Dallas Cowboys lose. And I believe that happened twice. Now, he didn't get interceptions in both those games, but I'm saying we had 2 of those games that I can look back to. I can look back to icing your own kicker. I can look back to being up 26-3 against Green Bay and throwing more than Green Bay, who's trying to get back in the game. Now, if you tell me that that's good coaching, then I guess I just don't know what coaching is. So my concerns are when it comes to crunch time, and we're going to have a lot of crunch time this year. We got a hell of a schedule. Is Jason Garrett and the crew going to do better? Are they going to be able to make the right call? Are they going to be able to keep their cool? Time will tell on that one. But that's my big concern. My other concern is with Jason Garrett. I understand his coaching style. You know, to me, it's kind of like the Little League coach, you know? When your kids play Little League football, it's not really about winning and losing, you know? It's about the participation. Everybody gets their participation trophy, you know? Congratulations, Johnny. Good job, man. Good job. When the guys screw up on the Cowboys, and everybody makes mistakes, that's what we get. Good job. We'll get them next time, man. Good job next time. Like I said, I'm old school. I was used to having coaches cuss you out, to hold you responsible for when you screwed up and let the team down. That would give you the look that you'd say, you know what? I think I'd rather go on the other side of the field. The look that you never wanted to see, so you made damn sure that you didn't make that mistake. The fear of losing your spot or your job. Because I look at incidents that have happened with the Dallas Cowboys that players have no fear. You think Greg Hardy had any fear of can't speak tonight, anything coming from anything he did? Fighting with Des Bryant, fighting with coaches, not showing up for practice. Rolando McClain practice when he wanted to practice. I don't feel like doing that drill, so I'm not going to do it. I don't feel like showing up at training camp till later on. I think I'm just going to go hang out in the weight room. Say what? Now I understand when you have veteran guys like Tony Romo that know what they're doing, that have injuries and things like that, that I get it. They should have days off. But you dictate that to them. You just don't have guys that show up and say, oh, well, I don't feel like showing up. What are they going to do? And that's accountability that I don't see. And maybe that's not Jason Garrett's fault. Maybe that's Jerry Jones allowing the players to get away. Whatever it is, I personally don't like it. I like the John Gruden look, you know, when you screw up that scrawl, like you I'm going to kick your, you know what? I like Bill Parcells with his arm crossed as you come across the field and tell you, sit your ass down. To me, you've got to command that respect with a little bit of fear. And again, that may be me because I'm old. That's the way I was brought up. That's the way I played football, is with some discipline. And so football today truly is different than when I grew up. There's no doubt about it. They don't tackle. They don't wrap up. And that's why today on the field, you see guys that are just trying to throw a shoulder and a head into it to tackle a guy instead of taking your helmet across the body, wrapping up at the torso and taking him down. Because they don't practice it anymore. So anyway, back to you guys. I've been ignoring the feed, and I apologize for that. I guess I've had a rough week, and I'm trying to get a lot of this stuff off my chest. Well, them Cowboys, I know. I've always been questionable on Jason Garrett. What I hope, because I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, regardless how I feel about him, I hope that he does well, and I hope that I'm wrong because I want to. Oh my God, you're right. Jeez. Thank you very much. Surprised Jobu's not kicking my ass. Jobu definitely needs a refill. Here I am drinking my iced coffee with Kahlua and rum. And poor Jobu, sorry Jobu, hasn't had his. Thank you very much for reminding me. But yeah, Jimmy Johnson was another one. Guy went to sleep in practice. You know, he's about to throw a projector over on him. So that's one of the things that I kind of wish that we had with Jason Garrett, but we're not going to get that with Jason Garrett. So I can just forget about, that happening. It is what it is, and it's going to be what it's going to be. Jason Garrett's our coach. Screen is black. Okay. That's because it's actually just playing through the original feed that I have. I didn't have enough time to really do a whole lot of videos and stuff, so I took some clips from the draft to put in here as the beginning of the whole draft scene. This is depressing. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to depress anybody. I'm really sorry about that. And I think, well, Aisha, I agree. We need to hold everybody accountable. McKay, I am happy. I think he is great. I think that he's going to be in big demand come next year. And I know he said that he has unfinished business and wants to get a Super Bowl ring. And that sounds great. But then all of a sudden, when somebody offers you, $5 or $6 million to be their GM, then you start saying, maybe I can finish that business over here because that's a whole lot more money. Michael Irvin as a coach. That would be interesting because you don't know. Sometimes guys that played aren't the best coaches. You just never know. Because sometimes the guys who haven't played, the guys who are the statisticians, the guys who've been on the sidelines become the best coaches. When you do Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders too skinny. That's funny. Jerry has the money. Well, Jerry definitely has plenty of money. Yeah, say, man, I love Collins. Collins is a beast. And he's one of those people that when you meet him, he is one of the nicest people you'll ever see. But when you get him on the field, he's going to kick your ass. Yeah, Jackie, he is the real deal. That this team, you look at how this team has drafted over the last 5 years, I think you can all point to Will McClay for that because he's the one who's doing all the scouting. Yeah, well, as far as that 3-year contract, I tell you what, if the Cowboys fall, oh my God, thank you. All right, we just got another super chat. I shared my dream, and that's Keesake. Keesake, thank you very much. I shared my dream with you guys earlier this week, and my dream is to outfit a vehicle that will be like the mobile Jobu sports machine and to start going tailgating because I'm definitely going to be making sure I go to the Giants game or then the Redskin game. I'm going to try and go to the Atlanta game, and I'm going to try and go to at least 2 games in Dallas. I had so much fun at the draft. What I wish I had had more time to do, but because this was not my own trip, this was because I was filming and doing all this stuff. I would love to go to a bar and just have like a meet and greet where we can all sit down and just talk about football, and we end up live streaming it to the rest of you guys who can't be there. And I also want to go through, and I want to go to games and tailgate. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen any of my cooking videos or my mixed drink videos or things like that. I do actually have 2 other channels. One's like a home improvement channel, and the other one is actually a cooking channel, where my dream is to tailgate at every single NFL stadium, meet people, get different recipes, and make a recipe video and book. So I would be there barbecuing, doing pork sliders, pulled pork slider. Oh God, it just makes me hungry. Doing tacos, doing chicken wings and all that. We're out there talking, having a good time, having shots of rum, and spreading the mojo before the games. So this jar is the mojo jar. So last week we got one person who, and I'm sorry I haven't gone back to the video to see your name, did a super chat. And now we have Keesake who just did one as well. I'm gonna put $2 in here. So we're gonna take that money, and every time I've made some money with Jobu, I've used it to upgrade the set, or I bought my paving stones that are in Dallas. So we're gonna see where this gets to be by the time the season gets there. And if it's big enough, we'll definitely do something with it that we can all kind of do together. So thank you very much, Keesake. And I hope I said your name right, because I am a name butcher. It's what I do. And I appreciate you helping the Jobu cause. So that's really cool. There's a $5 added. Did I miss another one? Oh, damn. Oh, shoots. Keesake, man, come on, man. Don't give me all of your money. I appreciate that. Damn, thank you. I've lost the stream in here. The stream is coming through, and I got to tell you, where we were this time last year, I've had this channel now since 2012. My daughter, who's an internet blogger, my daughter has close to 400,000 subscribers. She's a fashion guru and lifestyle stuff and all that. AK Doll. She originally helped me set up my YouTube channel in 2012 because I was doing Jobu and things like that. And so I had a few claymation videos and stuff. Didn't really do a whole lot with it until really about this time last year. I did a few videos talking about Dak Prescott. I did the draft last year, and it took off because of the videos I did about Dak Prescott before the Cowboys drafted him. The channel has grown like crazy. In fact, yesterday we hit over 4 million views on videos, and I'm just blown away by that. We have over 8,500 subscribers. We've had, I think, 250 just this week alone. And for me, the thing that I take the most enjoyment from this, it's not about trying to make money or anything like that. It's the camaraderie. It's talking to you guys. It's hearing your opinions, and we may not always agree. But I remember with the new job that I have, we had a nuclear physicist who was about 72 years old who came in and did this whole talking stuff to us. And I'm sitting there thinking, I asked him, I said, why do you do this? You're retired, you've got plenty of money and stuff like that. Why do you do this? And he said, I have a lot of knowledge and a lot of stories that I don't want to die with me. He says, if I can get all of this knowledge and all these stories out, then even when I'm gone, I will still live on. And that's what I feel like with this channel. I'm not always right, but I'd say I'm as right as a lot of the talking heads out there. I did get Taco right. I did get the fact that I knew we were going to go defense right. I did get Dak Prescott right, but I also make mistakes too. But for me, I look forward to doing a video and reading comments from you guys. I don't have time at work always to answer all of them, but believe me, I'm going through and listen to all of them. And it's literally like I've got right now 150 friends sitting right here, and we're all having a big party together. And that's why this means a lot to me. And doing what we did in Philadelphia would be great to be doing in Dallas. We all get there together, get drunk, watch the Cowboys kick the Redskins' ass or the Eagles' ass or whoever, and have a ball. Because the world is so crazy right now. I don't care if you laugh at me because you think he's an idiot with a doll, or you're laughing with me. As long as you laugh, then I feel good, because we all need to laugh these days. So, Keysake, I really appreciate that, man. And I'm going to put $7 into the cup. So we're going to see this thing grow. Now, I'll probably get a troll that'll break into my house and steal it before it's all said and done. Well, Bryce Butler might be another one that might be gone too, Dart Lover. Because with Noah Brown there, you've got guys that are going to be fighting for position. And it's going to be actually, I think, great. Oh, I can definitely do a rack of ribs. Oh, if we're going to do, pulled pork sliders, we definitely can do ribs. And I'm going to tell you, I can burn. I can seriously burn. We get that big pot of Texas chili there. We get some ribs, some chicken wings, and we get some tacos. We're going to have a whole lot of gas up in there, but we definitely going to have a good time. Yeah, there's quite a few guys that's what I love is the competition, because, we did good last year. But the thing about the NFL is, if you're not improving, you're getting worse. You can't just kick back and say, okay, we're good this year. Take a look at New England. New England just won the Super Bowl. Look at how many new players they've brought in. Look how many places they've tried to upgrade. Mark, you owe that money jar more money. Yeah, Matt, I will put the money in after this show. Thank you very much. Would you like for me to go ahead up, call the donkey? Geez, thanks again, man. So we're up to $8 more going in here tonight. Thank you. Sandman, oh man, that's the thing I miss about football season right now, is because Sundays are my day to just go off on cooking. I mean, I will be out Saturday night getting the pork shoulder in the grill and slow cooking that for about 15 hours. And I'll be up literally every 2 hours checking the coals to make sure it's just that 220 degrees temperature, just right for that thing. So definitely can't wait for the season, because I definitely put on a whole bunch of weight. But it's getting close. We're already through the winter. We are through almost the spring. Summer's going to be here, and before you know it, training camp will open. So I'm as excited as can be. Should we cut Hannah? Well, Hannah's one of those guys that we haven't had much luck with, because he has stayed injured a lot. But unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot to replace him with right now. We didn't draft a tight end, and we're it is what it is. Dallas fan, you and Shango are the best Cowboy fan streamers. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I commented on one of Shango's videos today and stuff, and he's hoping we see each other at training camp. I may end up sending him an instant message and see if he wants to live stream together, because I can get him up here on the screen. I think that would be great for both sites and things. And I'm kind of debating. I definitely want to go to training camp. The schedule hasn't come out yet, but what I'm thinking about doing is, because I can only take a couple of days off, is going in on a Thursday morning and coming back on Sunday, but do it around the 12th, because we'll be playing the Rams on that Saturday. So hopefully I can catch practice on Thursday and do some stuff there. And then we'd have the game on Saturday. And then I think the Cowboys will come back to Dallas after that. How to donate? There's a little, if you look at the mark at the bottom, there's a little dollar sign down there by a smiley face, and that's the super chat thing. So if you ever, I can order pizzas like nobody's business. Raymond, get me a supreme pizza then, because I could go for that right now. But if you do want to do a super chat in the future, it's actually down on the bottom where the comments are. You'll see a little smiley face and a little dollar sign. But I'm, like I said, I'm not asking for people to donate if they want to do it. It just surprised me last week that somebody had done it. I'd seen YouTube had talked about super chats and things like that and stuff. So when it popped up last week, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that. So this is the change jar that will go with the super chat money, and we'll see how it builds. And if it's not enough to do what I really want to do, I'm going to make sure we do something with it. So right now we're up to $13. So damn, I could actually order pizza tonight. No, I'm not going to do that. How you doing, Michavelli? Come on, guys, stop this, man. You guys are killing me, Chuck baby. What's my opinion on Joey Liv? I can't say I know that much about him yet, and unfortunately, I've been so busy this week that I haven't had a chance to go through and really study a lot of him stuff. What I'm hearing is that he's actually a pretty good guy, and he may be a guy that can make the team. But the problem is going to be is we have now a log jam in defensive line. And if you're right now asking me DeMarcus Lawrence or David Irving, I would say the potential of David Irving right now is over top of DeMarcus Lawrence because he's had 2 back surgeries, and at his age, to already have problems with his back, the longevity of him may not be there. David Irving, I look as a young guy who's making $615,000 this year, who's on a 1-year contract, who's thinking, if I go balls to the wall, then I can get a big fat payday. So the incentive is on him to really have a big year and look to be signed to that big contract. So look for David Irving to have an impact season this year. God, guys, it's 10 o'clock. Well, believe it or not, Eric, I do eat a whole lot of pork sliders and all that stuff, but my blood pressure is actually really, really good. I'm like 118 over 85, and I'm actually in pretty good shape. I end up, I think I had 110,000 steps last week, just saying. So I get around. I just have bad knees, unfortunately, so I can't run anymore with 5 knee operations. Where do I live? I live in Northern Virginia, about 15 miles outside of D.C. It was short-lived and fun. Okay. Go, Sarah. Well, guys, I love the taco. Way to go, Dark Knight. I love the taco emoji there. Well, guys, it has been over an hour. It has been a fantastic time as always. We will be live streaming again on Monday night. I can't thank you guys enough. In fact, I'm going to go upstairs and put $11 more in the jar. Why am I a Cowboys fan? I actually touched on that a little bit earlier. I'm a Cowboys fan because of my father, who was a Dallas Cowboy fan when I was growing up. And it was because the Washington Redskins were the last team to integrate, and my dad refused to root for them, so he went the opposite direction. So, guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. It's always a great time when I'm hanging out with you guys. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I hope to see you Monday night. And any news on the Dallas Cowboys, you know I'm going to be bringing it to you first. Have a great night and a great weekend.